We're actually close to being out of time. I know everyone wants to get over to the reception and network over there. So why don't we just, if we could just kind of do a whip around the room to end it and just say, what do you think of the long-term prospects of independent hotels and soft brands in general? If you want to just give kind of a summation of where you think the kind of trajectory is. So how about Harry down there? Maybe give us the, what you think.
Well, we would be very hopeful and love to see them continue, and I think they will. Selfishly, it's a lot more interesting for us to do the soft branded and independent projects. That being said, again, focusing on a lot of high barrier to entry markets that are filled with all the major brands, there's just plenty still of opportunity. And we're seeing more of these properties come in over the next couple of years, so we're already seeing that kind of backlog in that type of segment. So I guess we're hopeful and we see it continuing.
I think it's the next frontier, right? So as our consumer looks for that experience, that local feel, but also as markets become very mature and there's not a lot of brand availability, this is going to be a segment that grows.
Yeah. I think the future is bright for soft brands, because as people experience what soft brands have to offer, and how restrictive brands have become, and same breakfast and same this and same that, I think consumers will love the change and will actually look and seek out these independent hotels in the future. And it's also the way of booking.
Yeah.
The way you book is very different. It's no longer let me go find my brand, let me find the best value and the best experience is how people book now. And I think it's here to stay. And the fact that a lot of companies are investing in these soft brands, I'm sure they have research that's letting them do this.
Mark, you guys still have the biggest pipe of all the soft brands I believe out there. So what's the secret to the success, and how do you keep it rolling?
It works for developers. I'd like to say we came up, I think we had the foresight to launch into this space, and like I said, we kind of grew into it organically. And usually when things happen that way, there's a reason, and we're just now investing in that and making sure that we keep the momentum. But when it comes to soft brands, two words really come to mind are flexibility and opportunity for developers. A lot of the hotels that come into the Ascend Collection, I'd say roughly 85% are conversion hotels. So they're assets that have existed in those markets as a hotel. It's not a new build where they're coming in and adding supply into the market, but they're just differentiating themselves and rebranding themselves locally, and giving themselves some purchasing power and some other juice, if you will, from the power of a major branding company to allow them to be successful. So flexibility and opportunity.
Great. The Carolinas, what's the?
I think there's a lot of opportunity as well. As you've seen markets, fill up with brands, the opportunity to step in and differentiate yourself becomes even more important. But I also am concerned. I think the next 3 to 5 years are very important for soft brands and independents, because they originated out of original ideas and something different and something new. And then you've got this group of investors now that think that they can just hire consultants and throw a soft brand on it and it's going to be successful. And I don't think people truly realize what it requires to make a soft brand successful. So I think 3 to 5 years, especially on the lending side, is very important. When you look at some of the projects, Charleston, South Carolina is a perfect example. You've got a lot of really big players that are coming in there that are never stepping foot in these assets. We've got this consultant for this and this consultant for that, and at the end of the day, they're going to compete against some really good independent and soft branded hotels. Yeah. So I think as far as our future goes, it's bright, but we need to be cautious as well on the brand side.
Jerry?
It's a great time to be in this business all the way around, whether it's branded or unbranded. I think soft brands, just put in the same category as independents. It's a feeling that everyone has right now because everyone's doing it. But when the days end, it's about real estate, and you're going to do a branded or an unbranded property based on the value of the real estate, what you can create from the real estate. It's kind of interesting. I'm working on a project right now, on a mixed-use project. I can put a branded property and it's a no-brainer. It will absolutely give a return on the investment on that particular site with that mixed-use component. But yet we're looking at a soft brand because it creates more value for the office and the retail. And even if it may have a little more risk to it, it's a more interesting application for the rest of the development. So I agree. I think soft branding and independence are here to stay. But I do think it'll be a trend for how long as real estate values increase or decrease. And that will be the final decider, what the value of real estate is on these brands or non-branded.
Well, financing has always been kind of a mystery. And I think, however, between all the different brands, it's a matter of the structure being solid. Good developer, you know, it sounds so boring, but all the pieces have to fit. Otherwise, it's very, very difficult. And that's it. It's the location. I mean, populations change. Places in the country are more interesting now than they might have been before. There's a demand that's created, but the lenders are not always catching up with all those demographic changes. So it's back to basics, structuring, the loan cost and what have you, and I think that and the borrower's expertise, and that's the key to getting future growth.
You know, if I got to say, the last thing was that, I mean, what about I think 2/3 of the properties in the U.S. are branded versus maybe 1/3 that are independent, right? So there's still, we talk about, I mean, is there still enough opportunity out there for independent to go out and get these independent hotels to affiliate? I mean, there's still enough kind of runway there?
Yeah, when we broke down, as we really started attacking and trying to grow the Ascend Collection, we went out and looked at where we really are targeting, where we're true upscale. We're not upper upscale, but for Ascend, we're that solid swath. And there are far more hotels in that segment than there are at upper upscale or luxury. So obviously, we want to, kind of go with the flow and path of least resistance. But there's something like 2,000 or 3,000 independent hotels that are in that category right now. And then you've got folks like these guys that are building new hotels and adding to it. So we think there's a lot of runway there.
It's a good business to be in, build or affiliate. So, well, that's it. I appreciate everyone joining us on Sunday afternoon. Sorry about the weather, but I appreciate it, and have a thank you to our partner on this, Choice Hotels.
Thank you.
And
Appreciate everyone.
Yeah, enjoy NYU.